You know what's genuinely surprising about highly intelligent people? They rarely look the way we expect them to. Most of us picture someone with a very high IQ as obviously brilliant, constantly talking, solving complex problems out loud, impressing everyone in the room. But psychology research tells a completely different story. Many people with extremely high intelligence actually display subtle behavioral patterns that don't look like intelligence at first glance. Cognitive psychologists often point out that intelligence is less about what you know and more about how your brain processes the world around you. And that processing tends to show up through certain quiet, everyday habits that most people completely misread. So let's talk about 10 of those habits, because chances are you might recognize a few of them in yourself. The first one is spending a lot of time alone. Highly intelligent people are often genuinely comfortable with solitude, not because they dislike other people, but because their brains are constantly processing ideas, and that takes space. The prefrontal cortex, the part of your brain responsible for planning, deep reflection, and complex thinking, does its best work in quiet. Research from the London School of Economics actually found that highly intelligent individuals tend to feel less satisfied with frequent social interaction compared to others. Their brains simply crave thinking time, and too much social noise can get in the way of that. The second habit is relentless curiosity. People with high IQs tend to ask questions about almost everything, not just big philosophical ones, but small, everyday ones too. Why do people behave this way? Why does this system work like that? How did this come to be? Their brains are naturally wired to search for patterns, and curiosity becomes a kind of mental engine that never really shuts off. Third, and this one surprises people, is talking to themselves. It might sound a little odd, but psychologists actually have a name for it: self-directed speech. Studies show that talking to yourself out loud can improve focus and cognitive control. It helps the brain organize thoughts and strengthen working memory. So when you notice someone quietly narrating their own thinking, that's not a quirk to laugh at. It might actually be a sign of a very active cognitive system doing exactly what it's supposed to do. The fourth habit is being completely comfortable saying the words, "I don't know." People with very high intelligence tend to understand the limits of their own knowledge, and they're not threatened by those limits. In psychology, this connects to something called the Dunning-Kruger effect, the tendency for less knowledgeable people to overestimate what they actually know. Highly intelligent individuals do the exact opposite. They're deeply aware of how much complexity exists in the world, and that awareness keeps them honest. Fifth is overthinking small things. An analytical brain rarely switches off completely. The same cognitive processes that help someone solve complex problems can also lead to analyzing a short conversation, a minor decision, or a simple situation in extraordinary detail. From the outside, this can look like indecision or hesitation, but internally, it's a brain exploring multiple possibilities and mental models all at once. The sixth habit is a strong, often unexpected sense of humor. This one catches people off guard, but humor actually requires serious cognitive work. To understand or create something genuinely funny, your brain has to recognize patterns, break expectations, and connect ideas that don't obviously belong together. Studies published in intelligence research journals have found a measurable link between higher IQ and more advanced humor processing. Funny people are often sharper than they look. The seventh habit is changing their minds when new evidence shows up. Highly intelligent people tend to treat their beliefs as flexible working models rather than fixed parts of their identity. When new information comes along, they update the model without much internal drama. In psychology, this is called cognitive flexibility, and it's considered a key marker of advanced problem-solving ability. It takes real intelligence to look at something you believed and say, actually, I think I had that wrong. And here's something worth pausing on for a second. How often do we misread these behaviors in real life? Someone who spends a lot of time alone gets labeled antisocial. Someone who asks a lot of questions gets seen as difficult or skeptical. Someone who changes their mind gets written off as uncertain or weak. But in many cases, those are actually signs of deeper thinking, and we're just not trained to recognize them. If you're finding this kind of content interesting, by the way, it really does help when you subscribe. It takes about 2 seconds, and it means more videos like this keep finding their way to you. Now, back to the list. The 8th habit is late-night thinking. A lot of high IQ individuals report being noticeably more mentally active after dark. Some researchers connect this to evolutionary psychology, suggesting that people with higher cognitive flexibility adapt more easily to non-traditional patterns, like staying up later when the world is finally quiet and the mental space opens up. 9th is observing more than speaking. In conversations, many highly intelligent people don't immediately jump in with a response. Instead, they watch. They gather information, read emotional cues, notice what's not being said, and then respond thoughtfully. This reflects strong pattern recognition applied to social behavior, and it can sometimes be misinterpreted as shyness or disinterest, when really it's careful attention. And the 10th habit is a constant underlying search for meaning. High intelligence often comes with a heightened awareness of just how complex the world actually is. Relationships, society, human behavior, the reasons people do what they do. That awareness can lead to deep reflection about purpose and identity. It doesn't always look dramatic or philosophical. Sometimes it's just a quiet question sitting in the back of someone's mind. Why do we think the way we think? Why do we live the way we live? And maybe that's the most interesting part of all of this. Real intelligence isn't just about solving equations or memorizing facts. At its core, it's about curiosity. It's about a brain that keeps exploring patterns,